Thank you. Welcome to Top 10 Tips and Tricks for Mac. Hope everybody is keeping safe and you have your coffees ready. I'm the founder and managing director for Zero IT London Services. And with me today, I have one of our top Mac engineers, Ian. Ian will be guiding us, giving us a few tips on Mac. I'm using Mac in a limited capacity, but it's always great to have some extra skills. There's a lot of interesting similarities between Windows and Mac itself, and my wife is using Mac. We support Mac in the corporate world, so I guess it's always great to see some of the similarities and actually some great features that we might be missing in the Windows environment. Thank you, Ian, and so thank you. Over to you.
Hi, morning, Izak. Thank you, and hello everyone else. Today, we're going to be, as you said, we're going to be going over some top 10 tricks and tricks for Mac OS that I've found just make life a little bit easier and make your day-to-day just a little bit more efficient. So here's Zero's top 10 tips and tricks for Mac OS users. We're going to start off with maximizing the toolbar. So for maximizing the toolbar, Mac, especially applications designed by Mac, they've got a nice little feature which allows you to edit the toolbar. So if you open up, for example, Safari, which is developed by Apple, if you go to View, you've got a customized toolbar, which literally, as you can see, the top here is kind of vibrating and you can pretty much edit it as you would like. So if you want to remove this, you can just drag it off. If you want to add it, here you go. Another nice little feature is the mail as well. So if you add it there, and all you do is click done, and there it is. So if you want to, let's say you, with COVID-19, you have found something interesting that you want to send to someone, all you do is click search and mail.
And from here, it opens up the
and
that would open up my default mail client, just out of interest.
Yeah, so as you can see, it's opening Outlook here. It's just taking a second.
And just 1 second, Ian, just to confirm, everybody, please post any questions you have via chat online on YouTube or on Zoom. We'll respond to it. Thank you.
Okay, so as you can see there, it's opened up, there's my mail, it's opened up the link, and just a brief little summary of it. And that is it. Okay, so that's just one nifty little thing that I found. But like I said, there's a lot more features for you guys to play around with, just to make your simple day-to-day a little bit quicker. Okay, so number 2 is startup items. So on Safari, there's a nice little function where you can actually, every time you open Safari, you can add a bookmark to always open when you open the application. So what I've seen is you can click, let's do BBC News, for example. Let's say every day you open up BBC News. You want to see the coronavirus, so you do BBC News. You then go to bookmarks at the top here, like you normally would add a bookmark. And then there's a function for your normal bookmarks to be on favorites. But if you click here, you can say startup. And if you add it here, every time you quit and reopen Safari, it'll open that by default. So a quick example, demonstration is if I quit here and now open Safari again, it's just going to bring up BBC News because that's the only one I have. And there you go. That brings up all the information you need there. And then there's another feature here as well, which it's pretty much the same thing, but this happens every time you log into your PC. The nice thing about this is you don't need admin details, and it does also help you manage little annoying applications that do start up that Apple does sometimes by default. So you go System Preferences, you go Users and Groups, and you go Login Items. And so every time you log in, and let's say TeamViewer starts by itself automatically, it'll generally be listed here. You can also add your own just by going clicking on the app. So you want your Outlook to open every time you log into your PC, you can just go here and you can add, let me just search Outlook. So Outlook go into applications, and there's your Outlook. So you say add, and now every time that I log into my PC, Outlook will, with this account specifically, Outlook will open, which I think is a very nice way to just have things go a little bit faster every time you log into your PC. Okay, so the third little tip and trick that I've found is Credential Manager, or Keychain, as some people would mention. So what you do is, if you have, Apple does like to say that they like to have everything sync with each other, which it does quite smoothly. Another way it does this is if you have the Apple ID signed in on your smartphone, your iPhone, and you have it signed in on this PC, there's a little feature that if you go to System Preferences, and it depends on what version you're running, but if you go to iCloud on Mojave, here's my Apple ID. If you go all the way down, there'll be Keychain. So now this, pretty much what it does is, if you have signed into someone's Wi-Fi network and you want it to be on this PC as well, so that you don't have to worry about that, you can go ahead and just enable Keychain there, which I think is a very nice device, especially with Wi-Fi networks, with applications that you sign on your phone that you can't remember the password. It's a very good way to do it. Okay, so I don't know if we can go to the next one quickly, which is keyboard shortcuts. So with Apple, you can create a keyboard shortcut for pretty much anything you would like. This makes, like I said, going to certain applications, whatever you'd like to do, it makes everything very, very quick. And it takes some time setting it up, but once you have it going, it really does make your life a lot easier. So to set it up, you go System Preferences and Keyboard Shortcuts. So yeah, you can have a whole lot of different settings for your keyboard. And what we're going to look at is shortcuts. So you have for pretty much everything you could want. If you want to, example, like we were on Safari, if you want to open Safari with a shortcut, I've already got but let's remove that. If we're going to add it, what you do is you click add, you say all applications. So we want it just for Safari. So you go and find Safari, you add it here, you give it a little name you'd like to remember it. We call it Safari shortcut. And the keyboard shortcut, we're going to make this Command S, because you for Safari, and you hold in the Command key and you type in whatever else you'd like. You can do this with anything, but you just have to hold in the two keys together. So Command S adds it automatically there, and you say add. Now, if I hold in Command S, it's going to pop up Safari, which is nice. I think it's a nice little feature. Yeah. So if we go quickly, also you can edit the ones that are already here, which is also very nice. So if you go here, you just double click on that last little bit. You can also edit it there if you'd like, which is also very nice and very useful. Okay, moving on to the next one. So long, going on to number 5 is notifications. So for someone that, if you get a lot of emails, this can be very, very frustrating, very annoying, because it always pops up on the top right here. And some of them just don't seem to go away and just force you to click on them and just make life a lot more difficult sometimes. So to minimize that, you can go to notifications here. And once in notifications, you can firstly have a do not disturb. So this will stop all notifications between certain times. It also shows you all your applications here. So let's say I get a ton of emails, all my notifications. Go ahead.
Sorry, just to check. So I can have a different notification set for virtually any of those applications.
Yes, precisely. So if you can, So if you want your Outlook, every time you get an email, you want it to pop up there and you want to reply to it, you don't want it to just disappear, you can set it here, and you go to Outlook application, and here will be 3 options for the alerts. So none is obviously you get no emails and notifications. Banners, it pops up, and then after a short period, it goes away. And then alerts is you actually have to click on it for it to go away. So I think it's very nice, especially, like I said, if you have a lot of emails and it just keeps bothering you the whole time, there's little banners, so then you can just set it to none. If you like having it there, like I said, you can just edit it for, again, any application you would like. I know some applications do constantly pop up for updates, for notifications every time something different happens, and it can get very frustrating. So that's a nice little way to get around that. Okay, so I don't know if we have any questions, but yeah, going on to number 6. We can have the power of preview and signatures. Personally, my favorite one. It's a nice little function here. It's pretty much, to compare it, it's like Adobe Pro where you can edit PDFs, but just built in for Mac. So I'm going to go open up, I've got an email here quickly. I've got a PDF here that I want to open now. So if you double click on any PDF that's sent to you via email, it pops up here. And with this, what happens is you can, it's in something called a preview mode. So what you can do here is you go tools and you can go annotate. So you can add text, you can add whatever you would like here, and just to edit the PDF how you'd like. Another very, very nice one that we're going to go over is signatures and managing our signatures. So this allows us to add signatures into a PDF, which is very, very nice. So as you see here, there's 2 options. There's trackpad and the camera. So trackpad, if you click here to begin, then you can't click on anything else, and you have to pretty much type on your trackpad how you want your signature to be. Once you're done, you press any keyboard character and it stops it. And then you can say done, cancel, clear to go again. If you click done, it saves it there. Another very useful way, because I know these pen trackpads and all those funny little things, your signatures come out horrible sometimes. So to create a signature again, you can use a camera. So if you click on camera, you can sign it on a blank piece of paper, your signature, and actually hold it to the camera to input your signature. So we'll do that now quickly. This one's just my name and surname. You have to line it up with that little blue character there. It does take a second or two. Just waiting for it to come through. Maybe it needs to be a bit bigger. Sorry, just waiting for it to.
Is that? Are you sure that's your signature?
Yes, I'm quite sure.
But you don't, because you have done it before. Maybe it's.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
Okay,
Can I have a copy of that?
So if you click on done, it pretty much adds your signature. Like I said, it does take a little bit of setting up. It can be a bit frustrating in the beginning, but once it's there, it is there. Every time you sign in, it is, yeah. Unfortunately, it's not very secure. It can be quite unsecure because if someone else has your login details, they've got your signature, which might not be the best. But so you can clear it afterwards and it'll be gone. It'll be removed and there you go. So also to add a signature, you can also pretty much just click on it and there it appears. You can have it, yeah, if it says sign here, you can just pop it up there and you're good to go.
Thank you, Ian. Very handy.
Okay. Oh, another thing to mention is this also integrates very well with Adobe, which people use as a standard PDF reader. So you don't have to worry about it as someone on Windows machine not being able to open it or not being able to read some of it. It integrates fully and it's completely compatible. So that's just also something to put in there. Okay, let's go to the next one, using split screen. So like myself and probably many others, this dragging and dropping on the side here is very irritating to try get Windows screens to match up to how you wanted to use the split screen. So good feature is here, while it's minimized like this, you can actually hold the left click button and it kind of brings you in this drag phase. Once you do that, you can actually have it as a full split screen. So it's going to ask me for another full screen, which I don't have another screen at another one at the moment, but what we can do is, yeah, if we want to test it, I open one here. So if I go here, and it does work also with, like I said, if you have 2 screens, it doesn't pick up on each screen. So another quick way to test it, if we go Safari, we go here, and we drag it this side, we want to the left, or if we want to the right, have it there, and you click on the other screen you want. and there it is. This is a per screen basis, so you have to do it per whichever screen you would like to use. But yeah, I just find that's a very nifty little trick to make you more efficient and to manage your little applications.
Thank you.
Okay,
Any questions? Okay, thanks. Let's go on to the next step.
Okay, number 8 is using the trackpad. So unfortunately, there's too many to go over in one course, but the trackpad is very, very useful. It's one of Apple's also key products. It is extremely phenomenal what it can do. So if you go to System Preferences and click on Trackpad, here it shows you pretty much a lot of gestures you can do. You can just go down the list. You can set up. It is honestly amazing what you can do. A very nice one that I've used personally, that a lot, is if you go to, you take 4, okay, so more gestures. Let's see if it finds it. Yeah, Launchpad. So you take 4 fingers from the outside and you drag it to the middle, and then what it does is it opens. Sorry. And I think it's because I'm full screen. Sorry, just. Okay. I think I probably disabled it now by accident. There we go, that's why. So you take 4 fingers and you go to the beginning, and there you go. There's Launchpad, nice and quick, which I just find very useful and very handy. But yeah, like I said, if you'd like to learn more, just go through it. It's very easy to see, as you can see on the screen, what how it explains it, and it's a very nice feature. Okay, so on to the next one. Number 9 is managing resources. So Mac doesn't have the beefiest PCs in the world. They're not the most resource useful PCs, but they do manage the resources very, very well. So if you have an application not running well, not responding, or your Mac's just extremely sluggish, you can come to Spotlight and you search Activity Monitor. It autofills, so you can just click Activity and enter.
So Ian, so managing resources is more for those who doesn't really understand. It's when your Mac becomes slow. How to make the most of actually how everything interacts, and that's where we work with maybe just for the audience, CPU, memory, and we're gonna go into how it's been used and maybe potentially overused. And how would you explain what the CPU or memory is, maybe for anybody that might not understand that 100%?
No worries. CPU is pretty much your brains of the PC. So it does your calculations. It does, because it goes through all of that. So your CPU is your brains. It doesn't generally take quite a knock. But your memory is your key one. Your memory is pretty much the muscle of the PC. It handles all the heavy resources. The movement between the PC parts. The memory is a very strong resource, and that's the one that generally.
I guess PC. It's Mac part, isn't it? So in this instance, more as a joke.
But the memory is So what the memory does is, if your application isn't running, it's not working, it's not responding, or your PC is being overused, it's very slow. Memory is the first one to come look at. So as you can see, I know this can be a bit confusing, this whole list here, but the main thing to notice is the bottom here. So it tells you the memory. This is the force that the memory is taking at the moment. It's saying it's only using about 3.2 gigs, which seems like a lot since I only have 4, but Mac is very good at managing how those resources are being used. So if your application stops responding or everything becomes slow, this will potentially move to orange. It looks orange, or it goes to red. Red is obviously the worst, and it makes everything very slow. So you can come then and if you see that, you can literally, there's 2 little arrows here in memory. This goes from the least to the most. Least is heavy. This goes from the most down. So if my let's say my Microsoft Teams is using all my resources, I can click on that and then just click on the X at the top here and then quit or force quit. Sometimes applications won't quit. If they're not responding, it'll show up as red here. One of these where it's white in the list here, it'll show up as red. that you generally have to force quit to stop it. And that's just, yeah, that's a very useful way. Like I said, memory is the main one you're going to work with. CPU doesn't really, you don't really have to worry about it. And if you are constantly running low on memory, you're trying to do quite beefy applications like Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Premiere, you're trying to edit videos. Sometimes upgrading the memory is the best way around that. The one thing to keep in mind with Mac especially though, is it's not just about buying new RAM. Sometimes, like with the MacBook Airs, the RAM isn't interchangeable. You have to buy a whole new motherboard. Sometimes it's not worth it. It's just better to buy a whole new PC in that instance. But that's just one thing to keep in mind. The MacBook Pro, though, I do know since it's a little bit thicker, it does actually support memory slots. So you can just upgrade the memory for that.
Thank you.
Okay. And on to our last one, number 10, quick and easy screenshots. So I tend to send a lot of screenshots when I'm working, stuff like that, and sometimes it's annoying to have to use a whole new application. So with Mac, sending screenshots is quite easy. All you do is you hold in the command key on the keyboard, which looks like a little full circle, the shift key at the same time, and you click the number 3, and you'll hear a little click sound, a little almost like a photo, and then once that happens, you will see it at the bottom right hand side. If you look on the screen, you'll see a little preview of it. If you click on that, it'll pop up here for you. So here's the screenshot we just took. We can just click on done if you want, and what it does is it'll actually save that screenshot to your desktop, which is very, very nice to have. So that's for that. Sometimes that's for the whole screen, by the way. Sometimes if you don't want the whole screen, you just want a little bit of a line, you click on the command shift and 3 at the same time, hold them all in, and you will 4, you will see this little crosshair kind of icon pop up, and all you do is you click on it, you click where you would like to start the screenshot, and then you drag it as you like. Once you do that, again, it's going to pop up the bottom right-hand side. You're going to hear that little flash. Well, yeah, that little photo sound, and you click on here again, and there you go. It's right there for you. You click done, and again, it saves directly to your screenshots. Create screenshots and send directly to your desktop, which I think is very nice to have, and just again, a little thing to make you more efficient in your day-to-day. And that is it from me.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much. Do we have any questions?
Yes, I have 2 questions. I just wanted to speak to you. You mentioned earlier when you were discussing memory, you mentioned RAM. Could you just explain RAM to me in more detail?
Okay, no problem. RAM is your memory. Sorry, RAM is read-only memory, but RAM is your actual memory on the PC. It's just a little bit of hardware component, and that's the naming of it is called RAM.
Okay, thank you. And then the next question I wanted to ask you is that when you choose to force quit, what happens if you can't force quit? Because I've had an issue once where I've tried to force quit on my memory and it couldn't quit, basically. Do you have a suggestion around that?
Well, generally, force quit will force the application to quit. Sometimes, if it's such a state that it's actually causing your activity monitor also not to respond, then yes, generally the best would be to actually just give your PC a restart. Unfortunately, because I know that sometimes bigger applications like Adobe, if they crash, they can sometimes freeze most other applications running on that PC as well, which can be a bit of frustrating to deal with.
Fantastic. And I have one last question for Izak.
Yeah.
Izak, I know you mentioned you were a Windows owner. By watching this 10 tips for Mac, would you move on to Mac?
I've been a Mac user. I have been a Mac user myself in the past, and and we have a Mac in the house, so I do use it from time to time. At the moment, I prefer not to comment, if that's okay. I mean, it has got some great features, so I'm like, at the moment, 50-50. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's all from me.
I assume you are a Mac user. Would you move to Windows?
I have worked on both, and I will still stay on my Mac. That's for sure.
I've also worked on both. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Any other questions? Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Thank
Welcome. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.